Hello, cogitantes. This is Eve. She turns into this form after the fusion with Adam. Why? In order to understand the meaning of the fusion, we have to talk about love. Why? Because, as human beings, we are constantly in motion, striving to achieve what we desire, seeking something that makes us feel complete. This quest for completeness is an act of love, and it is never without turmoil and effort, eventually ending in a conquest. What is love? In Plato's Symposium, various speakers try to define it, with one suggesting that love is the desire for completeness. Okay, but why am I telling you this? Because after playing through Stellar Blade twice and creating 3 videos on the subject, I can say that the protagonist's drive for completeness is a central theme of the story. He is always searching for something, driven by her desire to understand humanity and the Eve Protocol, which is the plan by the artificial intelligence called Mother Sphere to destroy humanity once and for all. At the start of the game, Eve perceives the Naitibas as less than human, believing her mission is to save humanity, not to destroy it. Her journey, though marked by trauma, unfolds into an exploration of human emotions: shock, fear, trust, affection, empathy, anger, and ultimately love. The developers, in their behind-the-scenes video, described it as a story about humanity, aiming to answer the fundamental question: what is humanity and what is humanity's future? All these emotions are new to Eve. At some point, at the beginning of the mission, I Won't Forget You, she's even asked about love and is unable to answer, a bit like asking your phone voice assistant about feelings. How does she learn about love? Much like the participants in Plato's Symposium who drink and discuss in moderation, katametron in Greek, Eve collects records, books, and notes, slowly piecing together her understanding. All these readings culminate in the so-called good ending of the game. This finale is the fusion of Eve with Adam, the discovery of Eros, love, and the overcoming of its opposite, Thanatos, destruction of humanity in this case. The other ending, or the bad ending, involves killing Adam and ending humanity, which in the train scene, Eve acknowledges as her sole purpose, the mission of the Androidos species. Okay, but what does fusion have to do with love, and why it is the most natural choice? After all, Eve has all the reasons to be mad at the elder Naitiba, Adam, Raphael Marx, and to kill him. Fusion is natural for Adam as it is for Eve after her understanding of humanity, her becoming more human throughout the game and experiencing different human emotions. As for the fusion, it echoes the myth of the androgynous beings in Plato's narrative. Aristophanes, in the Symposium, explains that humans originally had 4 arms, 4 legs, and 2 heads, and were complete in their duality, until Zeus split them as punishment. Since then, each of us has been desperately searching for our lost half to restore the original completeness. The fusion represents the culmination of the quest for completeness in order to restore the original totality. That's why it is the most natural choice. And the fusion is the true goal of love, to make 2 into 1. Plato says that the bond between true lovers is even stronger than the chains of Hephaestus, the god of the forge, not this parody. However, sometimes we might mistake someone else's half for our own, leading to the eventual end of that love. Much like Adam, who thinks that Raven is fit for the fusion, but then realizes that this would not have worked. True love, on the other hand, endures because it restores the lost unity. Even if this feeling is not called love throughout the game, we have to think of it not only as a bond between 2 individuals, but also, as the Platonic narration tells us, as a way to transcend our mortality through reproduction, making us immortal as a species as long as we reproduce. This is why the fusion makes sense, because its goal is to continue humanity, preventing the extinction. That's the sum of the tension between Eros and Thanatos, love and destruction. In this sense, like stated in the end of the game, their journey continues. This brings us to a further level of analysis. The mythopoetic narrative of the fusion of the androgynous at the end of the game is compelling because it reminds me of a recurring message in cyberpunk culture. The notion that the individual, apparently complete, is actually incomplete and seeks completion through others. It happens over and over in cyberpunk books, starting from William Gibson's Neuromancer in the characters of Case and Linda Lee. It intentionally reflects the dystopia in our age of extreme individualism, which ironically denies true individuality and brings to loneliness. Plato teaches us that individuals realize themselves not alone but through relationships with others, and love exemplifies this interconnectedness. Individualism, which claims to realize the individual in its purest form, entirely free from bonds, absolutus, actually leaves us isolated, solus. By severing these essential ties, it undermines true individuality. In contrast, relationships that preserve the uniqueness of each person, like columns in a temple supporting its unity and stability, allow for the full realization of the individual, achieving something greater together. It is a subtle yet profoundly impactful message in a game that captures the entire range of human emotions in an intense crescendo, ultimately striving to save humanity. Okay, but how can we overcome individuality? In a fragment called Love, young Hegel, who deeply reflected on love during his Frankfurt period, explored ways to overcome modern fragmentation and found two solutions. He saw that our modern world is one of division, losing the unity of knowledge, metaphysics, and solid reference points. So before establishing his system in the phenomenology of the spirit, Hegel experimented with various solutions to this division. One solution was religion, which etymologically means to bind together, and the game, as you know, is heavily based on the Bible. But Hegel also provided another solution, love, which Hegel saw as a unifying, life-giving experience capable of overcoming modern fragmentation. Hegel, inspired by Romeo and Juliet, was struck by Juliet's line, "The more I give to thee, the more I have." The idea is to defy the mercantile logic of utilitarian exchange of goods, summarized in the formula do ut des, where we give in order to receive something in return. And if we don't receive anything, there has been a deception. In love, you willingly accept loss. You give without expecting anything in return, finding strength in the act of giving itself. This strength is not just relational, but also generous. Love is inherently anti-utilitarian, and arguably the most anti-conformist force in our current society. In the good ending of Stellar Blade, love is not explicitly mentioned, but it is represented with the touch, the physical contact, and is reflected in the survival of the human species, overcoming the individuality of Adam and Eve. It proves once and for all the game's profound message to all the critics in gaming journalism and over the internet who focused too much on the appearance of the game rather than the essence. In a world where everything seems functional and which follows solely the mercantile logic of the do ut des, it is the lack of meaningful, altruistic, and specifically loving relationships that poses the real problem. So here comes Stellar Blade to remind us of the most basic things, Adam and Eve, the myth of the androgynous beings looking for each other after being separated, and the fundamental experience of love through the fusion, holding the key to resolving many of our present-day dilemmas. It's all about love. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like, leave a comment, and subscribe to the channel. Happy mindful gaming, and see you next time.